Sam Turner stood at the observation window and watched the stars slide past like scattered diamonds. The ship hummed beneath his boots, a low vibration that never stopped. He had been aboard the Starbound Crown for 3 weeks now, and he still felt like a stranger. The ship was beautiful in a way that made him uncomfortable. Every wall curved like the inside of a shell. Every surface gleamed with colors that shifted when he moved. The Valorians built their vessels to look alive, and sometimes Sam wondered if they actually were. He turned away from the window and walked down the corridor toward the guard quarters. 2 Valorian soldiers passed him without a word. They stood nearly 8 feet tall, their bodies covered in dark blue exoskeletons that clicked softly with each step. Their eyes were large and black, like polished stones, and they never blinked. Sam nodded at them. They did not nod back. This was his life now. He was a human among aliens, a soft creature surrounded by warriors made of armor and instinct. The Valorians had accepted him into their royal guard because of a treaty between their empire and the human colonies. It was a gesture of goodwill, nothing more. Everyone knew it. Everyone treated him like it. Sam reached his small room and sat down on the narrow bed. The mattress was too firm, designed for beings who did not need comfort the way humans did. He pulled off his boots and rubbed his feet. His shoulder ached from the training session that morning. He had sparred with a Valorian named Keth, and Keth had thrown him across the room like a child's toy. The other guards had watched in silence. None of them laughed. That would have been easier to bear. Instead, they simply looked away, as if his failure was too small to notice. Sam lay back and stared at the ceiling. He thought about home. He thought about the dusty streets of the colony where he grew up, the sound of his mother's voice calling him inside for dinner, the weight of his first rifle in his hands. He had joined the Marines at 18, fought in 2 border wars, and earned a reputation as a man who did not quit. When the security contract came through for the Valorian Royal Guard, he had taken it without hesitation. It was good money. It was a chance to see the galaxy. It was supposed to be an adventure. Now he was not so sure. A knock came at his door. Sam sat up and said, "Come in." The door slid open and Captain Zorath stepped inside. Zorath was the head of the Royal Guard, a veteran soldier with scars across his exoskeleton and a voice like grinding stone. He was the only Valorian who spoke to Sam directly. "Human," Zorath said. "The Queen wishes to inspect the guard tomorrow before we arrive at Kethra's station. You will stand with the others." Sam nodded. "I understand." Zorath studied him for a moment. His black eyes reflected the dim light of the room. "You have been here for 3 weeks. You have not complained. You have not asked to leave." "Why?" Sam shrugged. "I signed a contract. Contracts can be broken. Humans do it often. Not this human." Zorath made a sound that might have been a laugh. It was hard to tell with Valorians. "You are strange, Sam Turner. You fight like a wounded animal, desperate and clumsy. You cannot match our strength or speed. Yet, you keep trying." "That's all I know how to do," Sam said. Zorath turned to leave, then paused at the door. "The Queen has noticed you. She asked me about the human in her guard. I told her you were weak but stubborn. She seemed interested by this." Before Sam could respond, Zorath was gone. Sam sat in the silence for a long time, thinking about what the captain had said. The Queen had noticed him. Queen Silith, ruler of the Valorian Empire, a being so ancient and powerful that her own people spoke of her in whispers. Sam had seen her only twice since coming aboard. She moved like water, graceful and quiet, her silver exoskeleton gleaming under the lights. Her eyes were different from the other Valorians, pale and shimmering, like moons reflected in a dark sea. He did not know why she would care about him. He was nothing. A gesture. A symbol of a treaty that most Valorians resented. The next morning, Sam stood in a line with the 11 other guards in the main hall. They wore their ceremonial armor, polished and perfect. Sam wore his human combat suit, reinforced with plates he had welded himself. It looked crude beside the Valorian designs, like a rock next to jewels. Queen Silith entered the hall, and everyone went still. She walked slowly down the line, stopping before each guard. She spoke to them in the Valorian language, her voice soft and musical. Sam did not understand the words, but he understood the tone. She was thanking them for their service. She was reminding them of their duty. When she reached Sam, she stopped. He kept his eyes forward, his back straight, his breathing steady. He could feel her gaze on him like sunlight through a window. "You are the human," she said in his language. Her accent was strange but clear. "Yes, Your Majesty." "Why did you come here?" Sam hesitated. He could give her the easy answer, the political answer. But something in her eyes made him want to tell the truth. "I came because I wanted to prove that I could," he said. "I wanted to show that humans belong out here, among the stars, standing beside anyone." The Queen tilted her head slightly. "And have you proven this?" Sam thought about the training sessions, the silent meals, the empty looks from his fellow guards. "Not yet," he said. "But I will." Queen Silith watched him for a moment longer. Then she moved on without another word. That night, the ship entered hyperspace on course for Kethra Station. Sam lay in his bed and listened to the hum of the engines. In 2 days, the Queen would attend a peace summit with the Dominion of Shar. In 2 days, everything would change. He did not know it yet, but he would soon have his chance to prove everything he had promised. The alarms woke Sam from a dreamless sleep. Red lights flashed across the walls of his room, painting everything in blood. He was on his feet before his mind caught up with his body, reaching for his rifle and armor with hands that moved from pure training. The ship shook hard. Sam grabbed the wall to keep his balance. That was weapons fire. Someone was shooting at the Starbound Crown. He pulled on his combat suit and ran into the corridor. Valorian guards were moving in all directions, their exoskeletons clicking against the floor as they rushed toward their positions. Sam followed the flow of bodies toward the Queen's chambers, his rifle held tight against his chest. Captain Zorath's voice came through the communication system. "All guards to the Royal Wing. We are under attack. 3 enemy vessels. Boarding parties incoming." Sam felt his heart beating fast in his chest. He had been in combat before, many times, but never like this. Never in space. Never against an unknown enemy. He reached the Royal Wing and found the other guards, forming a defensive circle around the Queen's door. Queen Silith stood in the center, calm and still, her pale eyes watching everything. She wore simple robes instead of armor. She looked fragile, like a flower made of glass, but Sam knew better. The Valorians would not follow a weak ruler. Zorath stood at the front of the group, his blade drawn. The Valorians did not use guns the way humans did. They preferred close combat, trusting their armored bodies to protect them from harm. Sam was the only one holding a rifle. "What is happening?" the Queen asked. Her voice was quiet but steady. "Assassins," Zorath said. "They came out of nowhere. 3 ships, hidden until we dropped from hyperspace. They knew our route. They knew our timing. The Shar? Most likely. Extremists who do not want peace." Another explosion shook the ship. The lights flickered overhead. Sam could hear distant sounds now. Metal tearing, weapons firing, screams that did not sound human or Valorian. "They are boarding us," Zorath said. "We must move the Queen to the escape shuttle. It is our only option." One of the guards spoke up. "The shuttle bay is 3 decks below. The enemy will try to cut us off. Then we fight through them," Zorath said. "Form a protective ring around Her Majesty. We move fast. We do not stop for anything. Sam stepped forward. How many enemies are we talking about? Zorath looked at him with those black, unblinking eyes. Sensors show at least 40 boarders. Maybe more. 40. Against 12 guards and 1 human. Sam swallowed hard but kept his face calm. The group began to move. The Valorian guards surrounded the Queen in a tight formation, their bodies forming a wall of armor and blades. Sam stayed near the back, his rifle raised, watching the corridors behind them for any sign of movement. They made it down one deck before the first attack came. The assassins appeared from a side corridor, 6 of them wearing black armor and carrying weapons that glowed with blue energy. They opened fire immediately. Sam saw one of the Valorian guards take a hit to the chest. The energy bolt punched through his exoskeleton like it was paper. He fell without a sound. The other guards charged forward, blades swinging. Sam dropped to one knee and fired at the assassins, aiming for gaps in their armor. He hit one in the neck, and the figure crumpled. But more were coming. He could hear boots pounding through the corridors all around them. "Keep moving," Zorath shouted. "Do not stop." They pushed through the attackers, leaving bodies on the floor. But they had lost 2 more guards in the fight. 9 remained, plus Sam. The Queen moved with them, silent and quick, her robes flowing behind her like smoke. The second attack came on the stairs between decks. More assassins poured in from above and below, trapping them in the middle. Sam fired until his rifle overheated, then switched to his sidearm. A Valorian guard fell beside him, chest smoking from an energy blast. Sam grabbed the fallen soldier's blade and kept fighting Dot by the time they broke through. Only 7 guards remained. Sam was bleeding from a cut on his arm, but he could still move. He could still fight. They reached the deck above the shuttle bay and stopped. Zorath held up his hand, listening. Sam could hear it too. Footsteps ahead. Many footsteps. "They are waiting for us," Zorath said. "They know where we are going. Can we go around?" One of the guards asked. "No time. The ship is dying. We have minutes before life support fails." Sam looked down the corridor. It was long and narrow, with only one way through. A perfect place for an ambush. A perfect place for a last stand. Zorath turned to face his guards. "We will push through together. Protect the Queen at all costs. If any of us fall, the others do not stop. Survival ensures future service. That is our code." The guards nodded. Sam noticed that none of them argued. None of them suggested staying behind to hold the line. The Valorian code was clear. Survive. Protect the hive. Fight another day. But Sam was not Valorian. He looked at the narrow corridor, then at the Queen, then at the guards who had treated him like nothing for weeks. He thought about everything he had said to Queen Silith. He thought about what it meant to prove himself. "Someone needs to hold that corridor," Sam said. Zorath looked at him. "What? If we all go through together, they will chase us. They will catch us before we reach the shuttle. Someone needs to stay behind and slow them down." "That is suicide," Zorath said. "No one would survive." "I'm not asking to survive," Sam said. "I'm asking to buy you time." The guards stared at him. Even the Queen turned to look. Zorath shook his head. "You are human. You are weak. You would die in seconds." "Maybe," Sam said. "But seconds might be all you need." He checked his sidearm. 12 shots left. He had 2 grenades on his belt and a knife in his boot. It was not much. It would have to be enough. "Go," Sam said. "Get the Queen out of here. I will hold them as long as I can." Zorath hesitated. For a moment, something like respect flickered in his black eyes. "Human," he said. "Sam Turner. I will remember your name." Then he turned and led the guards away. The Queen paused at the corner, looking back at Sam one last time. Her pale eyes held a question he could not answer. Then she was gone, and Sam was alone. He took a deep breath, raised his weapon, and waited for the enemy to come. The corridor stretched before Sam like the throat of some great beast. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. Smoke drifted through the air from damaged systems somewhere deeper in the ship. The distant sound of explosions echoed through the metal halls. Growing quieter as the battle moved away from him, Sam moved quickly. He had minutes at most before the assassins found him. He needed to turn this corridor into a death trap. First, he checked the emergency panels along the walls. Every ship had safety systems, ways to seal off sections in case of fire or hull breach. Sam found the manual controls and studied them. He could not read the Valorian symbols, but he understood machines. He understood how things worked. He pulled wires. He crossed circuits. A heavy blast door slammed down behind him, cutting off one route. Good. Now the enemy could only come from one direction. Next, he gathered everything he could use as a weapon. He found a damaged power conduit sparking against the wall. He ripped it loose and laid it across the floor, hidden under a piece of debris. Anyone who stepped on it would get a nasty shock. Maybe enough to slow them down. He pulled storage containers into the corridor, building rough cover for himself. The containers would not stop energy weapons, but they would hide him, make him harder to hit. In a fight like this, every small advantage mattered. Finally, he checked his weapons one more time. His sidearm had 12 shots. His 2 grenades hung on his belt. His knife rested in his boot. The blade he had taken from the fallen Valorian guard was strapped to his back. He was ready. Or as ready as he would ever be. Sam crouched behind his cover and waited. His heart pounded in his chest. His hands were steady, but his mind was racing. He thought about his mother, probably asleep right now in her small house back on the colony. He thought about his old squad from the Marines, scattered across the galaxy now, living their own lives. He thought about all the things he would never do, all the places he would never see. Then he pushed those thoughts away. They would not help him now. Nothing would help him except focus and training, and the will to keep fighting until he could not fight anymore. The sounds came first. Footsteps, heavy and fast, echoing through the corridor ahead. Then voices, speaking in a language Sam did not recognize. The assassins were coming. Sam steadied his breathing. He counted the footsteps. 6 of them, maybe more. He pressed himself against the container and waited. The first assassin appeared at the end of the corridor. He was tall and thin, wearing black armor that seemed to absorb the light. His face was hidden behind a smooth mask. He carried a rifle that glowed with that same blue energy Sam had seen before. Sam did not hesitate. He leaned around his cover and fired twice. The first shot hit the assassin in the chest, staggering him. The second hit his neck, just below the mask. The assassin fell. The others reacted instantly. They scattered, diving for cover, returning fire. Blue energy bolts screamed past Sam, burning holes in the wall behind him. He ducked back and counted his shots. 10 left. Human, a voice called out in accented common speech. We know what you are. We know you are alone. Surrender now, and we will make your death quick. Sam laughed. He could not help it. The sound surprised him, rough and bitter in the smoky air. Thanks for the offer, he shouted back. But I think I'll pass. More weapons fire. Sam rolled to a new position, came up shooting. He hit another assassin in the leg, dropping him. The wounded enemy tried to crawl toward cover, but Sam finished him with a shot to the back. 8 shots left. The assassins were more careful now. They moved in pairs, covering each other, trying to flank him. Sam watched their patterns and waited. One of them stepped on the live power conduit. The shock threw him backward, his body twitching. Sam shot him before he could recover. 7 shots. Clever, little human, the voice said. There was anger in it now. You think your tricks will save you? We will tear you apart. Come and try, Sam said. They came. 2 assassins charged at once, moving fast, too fast for Sam to hit them both. He shot one in the face and threw himself sideways as the other swung a blade at his head. The blade caught his shoulder, cutting deep. Pain exploded through his body, but Sam kept moving. He pulled his knife from his boot and drove it into the assassin's side, finding a gap in the armor. The assassin screamed and fell. Sam scrambled back to his cover, breathing hard. Blood ran down his arm, dripping onto the floor. He checked his wound. It was bad, but not fatal. He could still use his arm. He could still fight. 6 shots left. 2 assassins remaining. Maybe more coming behind them. He pulled one of his grenades from his belt. He had been saving it for the right moment. This seemed like the right moment. Hey, he shouted. You want me? Come get me. He stood up from his cover, exposing himself. The 2 remaining assassins opened fire immediately. Sam threw the grenade and dropped to the floor. The explosion shook the corridor. Metal screamed. Smoke and fire filled the air. When Sam looked up, one of the assassins was down, torn apart by the blast. The other was staggering, his armor cracked, and smoking. Sam shot him 3 times in the chest. The assassin collapsed. 3 shots left. 1 grenade. The corridor was silent except for the crackle of flames and the distant groan of the dying ship. Sam leaned against his cover and tried to catch his breath. His shoulder throbbed with pain. His hands were shaking now, whether from exhaustion or fear or blood loss, he could not tell. Then he heard more footsteps. More voices. The second wave was coming. Sam laughed again, softer this time. Of course, it was not over. It was never that easy. He checked his weapon. He adjusted his grip. He thought about the Queen and the guards, hopefully reaching the shuttle by now. He thought about Zorath, who had said he would remember Sam's name. That was something. That was worth fighting for. Sam raised his head and watched the corridor. The smoke was clearing. He could see shadows moving in the distance, more assassins approaching. All right, he said to himself. Round 2. He took a deep breath, aimed his pistol, and waited for them to come into range. The second wave came faster than the first. Sam counted 4 shadows moving through the smoke, spreading out to cover the width of the corridor. They had learned from the deaths of their comrades. They would not make the same mistakes. Sam fired his first shot and missed. The assassins were moving too quickly, zigzagging between cover. He fired again and clipped one in the shoulder, but the armored figure kept coming. They were close now. Too close for comfort. Sam grabbed his last grenade and pulled the pin. Fire in the hole, he muttered, and threw it high. The grenade bounced off the ceiling and exploded in midair, showering the corridor with shrapnel. 2 of the assassins went down, screaming. The other 2 dove for cover, temporarily blinded by the flash. Sam used the moment to run. He sprinted deeper into the corridor, away from his original position, looking for new cover. His shoulder screamed with every movement, but he forced himself to keep going. Standing still meant death. He found an alcove where 2 corridors met and pressed himself into the shadows. His pistol felt heavy in his hand. 2 shots left. 2 assassins remaining. The math was simple, but nothing about this fight was simple. One of the assassins appeared around the corner. Sam fired without thinking, instinct taking over. The shot hit the assassin in the chest and punched through his weakened armor. He fell backward, clutching at the wound. 1 shot left. 1 assassin. Sam waited. The corridor was quiet. Too quiet. The last assassin was smart. He was patient. He knew Sam was running out of options. Minutes passed. Sam's wound was bleeding badly now. He could feel himself getting weaker, his vision starting to blur at the edges. He needed to end this fast, before his body gave out. He made a decision. It was probably stupid, but he was out of clever ideas. Sam stepped out of the alcove and walked slowly down the corridor. He held his pistol at his side, his finger on the trigger. He was making himself a target, betting everything on one final shot. "Come on," he called out. His voice was rough, tired. "I know you're there. Let's finish this." The last assassin emerged from the smoke. He was bigger than the others, his armor marked with symbols that might have been rank or achievement. He held a blade in one hand and a pistol in the other. His mask was cracked, revealing one eye underneath. It was yellow and cold, like a serpent's eye. "Brave little human," the assassin said. "You killed many of my brothers today. I will enjoy taking your life." "Talk less," Sam said. "Fight more." The assassin raised his pistol and fired. Sam threw himself sideways, feeling the heat of the energy bolt pass his face. He hit the ground hard, rolled, and came up shooting. His last bullet took the assassin in the hand, blowing the pistol away. The assassin roared in pain and charged, blade raised. Sam had nothing left. No bullets. No grenades. Nothing but his body and his will. He reached back and drew the Valorian blade he had taken earlier. It was too long for his human arms, too heavy for his human muscles. But it was sharp, and it was all he had. The assassin swung at his head. Sam ducked and thrust upward, aiming for the gap beneath the armored chestplate. The blade sank deep. The assassin stumbled, coughed, and kept fighting. They traded blows in the burning corridor. Two wounded warriors fighting until they could not fight anymore. The assassin was stronger, faster, better trained. But Sam had something the assassin did not understand. He had nothing left to lose. Sam took a cut across his ribs. He took another across his thigh. His body was failing, his movements growing slower, but he kept attacking. He kept pushing forward. Finally, the assassin made a mistake. He overextended on a thrust, leaving his neck exposed. Sam saw the opening and took it. He drove his blade forward with everything he had. The blade punched through the assassin's throat. The yellow eye went wide with shock. Then the light faded from it, and the assassin collapsed to the floor. Sam stood over the body, swaying on his feet. His entire body was on fire with pain. Blood dripped from a dozen wounds. The blade slipped from his fingers and clattered on the floor. He had done it. He had stopped them. Far below, he heard a sound. A deep rumble, followed by the roar of engines. The escape shuttle was launching. The Queen was safe. Sam smiled. It hurt to smile, but he did it anyway. He limped to the nearest wall and slid down until he was sitting on the floor. He did not have the strength to stand anymore. He was not even sure he had the strength to breathe. Around him, the ship groaned and shuddered. Fires burned in the corridors. Somewhere, an alarm was still wailing, warning of dangers that no longer mattered. Sam looked at the bodies scattered around him. 6 assassins in the first wave, 4 in the second. 10 enemies, and he had killed them all. A human. A weak, soft, fragile human. He laughed, and the laugh turned into a cough, and the cough brought blood to his lips. His vision was going dark at the edges now. He knew what that meant. He thought about his mother again. He hoped someone would tell her what he had done. He hoped she would be proud. He thought about the Queen, safe on her shuttle, flying toward the rescue fleet. He wondered if she would remember him. He wondered if any of them would remember him. Then he thought about nothing at all. The darkness closed in, warm and quiet, and Sam Turner closed his eyes. The last thing he heard was the sound of engines in the distance, carrying the Queen to safety. The last thing he felt was peace. He had done what he came here to do. He had proven that humans belonged among the stars. And sometimes, Proof required sacrifice. Sam let go of consciousness and drifted into the dark, not knowing if he would ever wake up again. But in that final moment, he was not afraid. He had lived as a soldier, fought as a guardian, and if this was the end, he would die as a shield. There were worse ways to go. The rescue fleet arrived 3 hours after the attack. 12 warships dropped out of hyperspace and surrounded the wreckage of the Starbound Crown. The royal vessel was dying, its hull torn open in a dozen places, fires burning its corridors, its systems failing one by one. Queen Silith watched from the window of the escape shuttle as the rescue teams boarded her ship. She had not spoken since they launched. The surviving guards stood around her in silence, their heads bowed. They had lost 5 of their brothers in the attack. They had left a human behind to die for them. Captain Zorath stood beside the Queen. His exoskeleton was cracked in several places, and blue blood seeped from a wound on his arm. He did not seem to notice. "Your Majesty," he said quietly, "the rescue teams are searching the ship. They do not expect to find survivors." The Queen did not respond. She kept watching the broken vessel, her pale eyes reflecting the distant fires. "The human," she said finally. "Sam Turner. He stayed behind." "Yes, Your Majesty. He knew he would die." "Yes, Your Majesty." The Queen was silent for a long moment. Then she turned to face Zorath. "In all my centuries of life, no Valorian has ever done what he did. Our code does not allow for it. We survive to serve another day. We do not throw our lives away." "It is the logical path," Zorath said. "A dead guard cannot protect anyone." "And yet," the Queen said, "we are alive because of him. Because one human chose a different path." Zorath had no answer to that doubt. An hour later, a message came through from the rescue fleet. A team had reached the corridor where Sam made his stand. They had found bodies everywhere, 10 assassins killed by a single defender. And in the middle of the carnage, slumped against the wall, they had found Sam Turner. He was alive. Barely. The Queen ordered the medical teams to do everything possible to save him. She did not care about the cost. She did not care about the resources. She wanted the human to live. For 3 days, Sam floated between life and death. The Valorian doctors worked on him constantly, repairing his wounds, replacing his lost blood, fighting the infections that tried to claim him. Human bodies were strange to them, soft and fragile in ways they did not fully understand. But they learned. They adapted. They refused to let him die. On the 4th day, Sam Turner opened his eyes. He was lying in a bed that was too soft, in a room that was too bright. Everything hurt. His chest, his shoulder, his legs, his head. He tried to move and found that he could not. His body was wrapped in bandages and connected to machines that beeped softly in the quiet room. "You are awake." Sam turned his head slowly. Queen Silith stood beside his bed, her silver exoskeleton gleaming in the soft light. She was alone. No guards, no servants. Just the Queen and the human who had saved her life. "Your Majesty," Sam croaked. His throat was dry and rough. "You should not be here. I am no one." "You are wrong," the Queen said. "You are the man who killed 10 assassins alone. You are the man who held a corridor against impossible odds. You are the man who chose death so that others might live." Sam tried to shake his head. "I was just doing my job." "No," the Queen said. "Your job was to protect me. The Valorian code would have you retreat, survive, protect me another day. What you did was something else. Something we do not have a word for in our language." She moved closer to the bed, her movements graceful and slow. Sam had never seen her this close before. He could see the patterns on her exoskeleton, ancient symbols carved into the silver surface. He could see the depth of her pale eyes, centuries of wisdom and sorrow and strength. "I have lived for a very long time," the Queen said. "I have seen empires rise and fall. I have seen species born and die. I thought I understood the universe. But you have taught me something new, Sam Turner." "What is that, Your Majesty?" "That courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else matters more." Sam was quiet. He did not know what to say. "I asked you once why you came here," the Queen continued. "You said you wanted to prove that humans belong among the stars. You wanted to prove that you could stand beside anyone." "I remember," Sam said. "You have proven it," the Queen said. "Not just to me. To every Valorian who heard what you did. To every species in the galaxy who will hear the story of the human who stood alone." She reached out and touched his hand. Her fingers were cool and smooth, like polished metal. It was the first time any Valorian had touched him with gentleness. "I have made a decree," she said. "From this day forward, a human will always serve in the Royal Guard. Not as a gesture of diplomacy, not as a symbol of treaties, but as a reminder of what true courage looks like." Sam felt something warm in his chest. It might have been pride. It might have been gratitude. It might have been something else entirely. "Thank you, Your Majesty," he said. "There is one more thing," the Queen said. "I am creating a new title. A title that has never existed before in the Valorian Empire. You will be the first to hold it." She stood tall, her voice taking on a formal tone that echoed through the room. "Sam Turner, human of the colony worlds, I name you the Queen's Shield. You will stand at my side in all things. You will carry the honor of your species with you wherever you go. And when the history of this age is written, your name will be remembered." Sam looked up at the Queen. He thought about everything he had been through. The loneliness, the rejection, the pain, the fight. It had all been worth it. "I accept," he said. "I will be your shield, Your Majesty, for as long as I live." The Queen smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible on her alien face. But Sam saw it, and he understood. He had come to the stars as a stranger. He had fought as a soldier. He had nearly died as a sacrifice. Now he would live as a legend. And somewhere out there, in the vast darkness between the stars, other humans would hear his story. They would know that one of their own had stood against the impossible and won. They would know that humans belonged among the stars, not because they were the strongest, not because they were the fastest, but because when everything seemed lost, humans were the ones who stayed. That was the legacy of Sam Turner, the Queen's Shield. That was the legacy of humanity.